Morning. I am on my solo girl tour of the north. How pompous is that? And I have come to Blackpool Pleasure Beach. It's 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm hoping that nobody much will be around. I've never been here before, but I have done an awful lot of research and I thought it might be worth bringing out my infrared camera just to see what I can get following my last time when I was up in London with it.
These are 3 of the images I took when I was up there, and I confess, it was such fun. I just looked for the unusual and thought, see what happens. That's what I want to do here.
Now, I've often thought of coming up here in the winter, around about Christmas time, to go and shoot the lights that they have as all the trams are lit up. I've seen some stunning photos of just kind of light trails and things like that. Quite creative. But today, it's not about that. I'm not really sure what today is about.
It's about having fun, girl. Fun. Remember that? This is normally a place I'd run from. Run fast. But actually, today ends up being a cracker.
This is more the kind of stuff I'm hoping to be able to utilise. Things like steps, the lights, some of the artwork that's here. And I'm going to start off my photo walk today at the world's biggest glitter ball. To be fair, I may have just made that fact up, but I'm sure that's what somebody said in the bar last night. Oh, I believe anything after a baby sham.
For the record, I do not drink baby sham.
Right, potential composition number 1. I'm liking the fishtail. I'm liking the squarey things in the background. And I'm liking the lights. Crack on.
Well, it'll do as a warm-up act. That's all I'm going to say.
Now, it's important I say this. I've got a converted camera, which means I do not need a tripod. Sorry, you're aimed up there because I like the fishtail. It's also got a zoom lens on it, which is quite important for today because I want to eradicate more than I'm going to keep in. Really important for today.
So today was about finding the odd stuff. Textures, shapes, patterns, things that might intrigue in infrared.
Oh.
Despite sounding like an old girl, having some fun.
It's a little bit more creative. Crack on.
So it's just a matter of shifting yourself around, trying to find something interesting. Sometimes it worked, sometimes, well, you know, it just didn't.
The reason why I thought that infrared might be quite good here is because there's quite a lot of angularness. There's also textures, and also it's going to be quite a sunny day. And one of the things that obviously infrared does is it makes those skies really pop black. However, you've got to have the sun behind you, and I'm facing this way, so that may not work for most of it because I'm going to be walking behind me once I get to my starting point. Well, there's my glitter ball, the starting point. I just need to consult my research. Remember what it is that drew me to this place in the first place.
Ah, that's better. Something that gets our creative juices flowing. Something that's very important. I needed to be high enough, so I got the distinction between the chairs. And then it was onto the glitter ball, my official starting point, the most southerly point for me.
Switch the camera on. Come on, basics. I'm a landscape photographer. I like that cloud in the background, not this malarkey. Right, I'm going to head up that way, which is north, towards the Blackpool Tower and see what I can capture. The problem I've got is that it seems to be raining that way and I don't need that. Every year I have a weekend where I come to the north of England and just have time to explore completely by myself. Last year I got an absolute cracker of a shot and had one of the best sunrises I've ever had in my life. This year I'm heading towards gloom.
Somewhat dissatisfied with what I'd shot thus far, I decided to sit down and look at the research I'd done, just to recenter a bit. It's amazing the powers of caffeine at times. After a while, I came to this earth-shattering discovery.
I need to be way up there, way.
And this is where, for me, stuff gets interesting.
Right, on with it. Okay, this is better. Perhaps without the rubbish lorry, but we're starting to get some interesting curves and stuff and yeah, what I would class as my more typical Blackpool. I can work with this. Look, curvy stairs and a reflection. Sure, I can do something with this.
In my excitement of having found this shot, I became careless.
I've walked in what I was going to have in my foreground. Idiot.
This fun business comes with its own set of hazards. Focus welcome.
Okay, this is working quite well. I've got reflections, I've got the curves of the stairs, I've got the elements that I would say is Blackpool to me. Sorry if you live here, I'm a tourist. And it just works quite well, particularly because I've got these leading lines in the foreground where the water is just kind of taken on the form of the sand. Works rather splendidly.
Yeah, I think the idea was better than my execution though. I really needed to focus that for that very close foreground.
I'm messing around with where my focus is. Do I focus on here and throw that out of focus, or do I go for the classic getting the background in focus? We'll see how it goes. I don't think I'm going to be able to merge because I'm not on a tripod and I haven't got my plate. Go on there.
Duh.
Yes, I have. I've got that plate. Sometimes I'm just a genius. I can't cope with my geniosity.
Yeah, I'm not sure how, but those files got corrupted. Oh well, crack on.
It's now 20 to 8 and people are starting to get up and go onto the beach, other than the runners and me. Matters. I reckon these steps are really quite an interesting foreground if I can sort them out, and if I can get it with a reflection, even better. Now I can't get rid of that landscape photographer urge. I'm liking that leading line going down to the end of the pier, so I've shot that.
Those hills in the background that are looking quite gorgeous are the Southern Lake District. Worth mentioning, I think.
Although infrared does excel on those bright sunshiny days, with it popping the sky when you've got the sun behind you, actually it does do rather well on flat, even light as well, because you can really focus on textures. Of course, the other thing with infrared is you do tend to get that, oh, doesn't that look interesting element? It doesn't necessarily make it a good shot. Remember that, welcome. Oh, that looks nice. Wonder if it'd make a good shot.
Well, I do keep talking about how good textures and the weird and wonderful looking infrared. Let me prove a point.
These wavy things are quite fascinating. You just got to wait for them to blow in the wind to the right position, because they wave about a bit.
This reflection shot of the wheel and Blackpool Tower was flipped so it actually made more visual sense. I confess to being rather fond of it. Dramatic skies and seagulls were definitely a feature of this morning, and in this shot and this one, well, I took advantage of them. They were just such fun to shoot. With a camera, only with a camera.
Okay, a few thoughts for today. Had I stuck to the south beach where I first came, I must admit I'd have been bitterly disappointed. Thankfully, I had done some research and realised I really needed to meander my way up north towards this gloriousness behind me here. What I'm loving is the sweeping and the curvings of the railings, and also these steps that just lead the eye off into the distance. Blackpool, you have 3 piers. That's very greedy. I am exceptionally pleased to have a zoom lens on that camera. It just means that I can eradicate stuff that I don't want. Interesting. My heart is definitely out there. I'm a landscaper. This is a bit of a distraction in the summer, a very enjoyable distraction, particularly when I don't have to carry a tripod around, which I have today because I've had to put you on it. If you fancy it, you can ignore certain bits of Blackpool, the bits that don't interest you, and you can look outwards and you can look along. Every now and then you get something that's a bit unusual, a gem of architectural uniqueness. A couple of my chums thought I was crackers for coming to Blackpool on my own. If you time it right, if you've got the place to yourself pretty much early morning, it's quite a special little place. Well, thank you for joining me in Blackpool. I confess it has been a surprise, particularly after a disappointing start this morning. Wherever I am next time, I very much look forward to taking you with me. In the meantime, take care, and look after yourself.
These are my 3 favourite shots for this morning. They just make me smile. Have any of them caught your eye? If not, has any of the others?